Nightline begins now with me, Sabrina Zainal. News making the headlines. Paris Court of Appeal favors Malaysia, sets aside award to Sulu heirs.
Banyak ketirisan dilaporkan dalam
Failed
laporan itu.
opportunity to scrutinize AG report due to opposition's refusal to debate. Good morning. Malaysia has won a legal battle in France that will likely cancel an award of about $15 billion over territorial claims related to Sabah. The Paris Court of Appeal ruled on Tuesday that the arbitration court that ordered Malaysia to make payment to the so-called heirs of Sulu Sultanate did not have jurisdiction in the case.
Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Law and Institutional Reform, Datuk Seri Azalina Othman Said, in a statement, said that the decision, which is final and binding, is a decisive victory for Malaysia in its ongoing pursuit of legal remedies, which Malaysia is confident will result in comprehensive defeat for the claimants and their funders. The decision also meant that the claimants could not rely on the sham award in France for any purpose. She added that the Malaysian government will continue to take all necessary actions, including legal actions, to put an end to the claims and to ensure that Malaysia's interests and sovereignty are protected at all times. The dispute is linked to the Sulu heirs' years-long claims to Sabah. A French arbitration court last year ordered Malaysia to pay the Sulu descendants over their claim. The government then filed an application to cancel the award in Paris.
Over in the Dewan Rakyat, the government has proposed that the Auditor General AG's report be debated in detail from now on as part of reforms to improve the efficiency, effectiveness and quality of auditing. According to Datuk Seri Azalina, this is to enable all parties to pay attention to the requirements of the law to create better public sector governance.
Datuk Seri Azalina said the effort by the Madani government will give direct opportunity to more MPs from the government bloc and opposition to participate in the process of ensuring that government funds are used prudently in the interest of the public.
Usul murni ini juga wajar diteruskan bagi tahun-tahun akan datang bagi meneruskan memupuk amalan ketulusan dalam semua aspek pentadbiran awam seiring dengan usaha mentransformasikan Dewan Rakyat yang berperanan untuk semak dan imbang kuasa eksekutif.
Datuk Seri Azalina said this when tabling the AG's Report 2021, Series 2, which was then debated by 13 MPs. In her winding-up speech later, she questioned why the opposition lawmakers refused to take part in the debate as none of them were present.
Mereka boleh tak nak datang dan dengar. Apa yang teruk sangat ahli-ahli parlimen bercakap? Tak ada apa yang kami tegur yang dalam laporan audit negara. Sekurang-kurangnya yang dibahaskan tu boleh dipertengahkan menjadi keutamaan dalam perbincangan PAC kemudian hari, betul tak? Kita nak tegur untuk kebaikan bagi rakyat kerana ini duit rakyat, bukan duit kita, bukan duit mak bapak kita.
Datuk Seri Azalina also said it was ironic that the opposition was now dodging the debate when it could have been done in 2021, should Parliament convene during the COVID-19 emergency period, which was declared when the Perikatan Nasional Government was in power. Earlier, all opposition MPs boycotted the debate on the AG's report, claiming it violated parliamentary standing orders and was unconstitutional.
The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC has launched a probe into allegations that Perikatan Nasional had used gambling money to fund its general election campaign. The anti-graft body's Senior Director of Investigation, Datuk Seri Hishamuddin Hashim, confirmed that a thorough investigation was being conducted.
Datuk Seri Hishamuddin, in a statement on Tuesday, said the MACC will scrutinize documents received based on a report lodged in connection with claims. He added that the investigation will cover various aspects, including identifying and investigating the background of the companies mentioned in the report. On May 30th, an individual lodged a report with the MACC and submitted documents urging an investigation over the allegations that Perikatan received funds from gaming companies, which was also used for elections. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim had previously said that claims made that PN had used gambling money to fund its 2022 election campaign were not baseless. He said investigations into the allegations that the coalition received funds from gaming companies were ongoing.
Mayat ditemui dalam kejadian kondominium runtuh di Hulu Kelang.
Highland Towers di Taman Hillview, Hulu Kelang, Selangor roboh tengah hari.
Secara retrogresif kejadian bencana yang paling dahsyat.
Yang kakak makcik dua-dua di sini, makcik tak lagi tak macam sedih sangat.
Fail Mahkamah, Rabu 9 malam di TV3 dan stream secara HD ditonton.
Stern action will be taken against those who issue irresponsible statements to the point of going against the federal constitution. This warning came from the Prime Minister and the Dewan Rakyat when commenting on the claim made by Kedah Menteri Besar, Datuk Seri Mohamad Sanusi Mat Noor, that Pulau Pinang belongs to Kedah. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim also confirmed that police have already started an investigation according to the Penal Law and Sediment Act against Datuk Seri Sanusi, while the Attorney General will take further action.
Datuk Seri Anwar also described the Kedah MP's allegations as a desperate attempt to get votes for his party ahead of the state elections in Kedah, Pulau Pinang and 4 other states.
Mengapa perkara ini dibangkitkan? Seperti mana disebut betul, memang betul, pasal PRN. Apakah kerana nak gelojoh kuasa pilihan raya, kita korbankan prinsip perlembagaan dan timbulkan huru-hara? Ini soalnya. Ya. Dan ini yang menyebabkan timbul permasalahan. Kita sudah merdeka lebih 6 dekad. Parti-parti memerintah. Sama ada UMNO Barisan Nasional, PAS dan PH, dan sekarang PAS dan PN. Tidak pernah dibangkitkan, melainkan seorang ketua yang tidak bertanggungjawab, yang sanggup melanggar prinsip undang-undang perlembagaan.
Datuk Seri Anwar was responding to Bagan MP Lim Guan Eng, who asked if any action would be taken against the Menteri Besar, who had asked for the federal constitution to be amended to erase Pulau Pinang and be returned to Kedah, whereby it caused disunity among the locals as well as harmony and security of the country. The Prime Minister added that Pulau Pinang's status as a state separated from Kedah had been resolved before independence. He added that the matter had been reaffirmed since under the federal constitution. Last month, Datuk Seri Sanusi claimed that Pulau Pinang is under the ownership of Kedah, while Perak and Perlis are the only states that have a border with Kedah.
Also at the August House, Datuk Seri Anwar revealed that construction of affordable houses or People's Housing Projects, PPR, will be made compulsory in the development of housing projects in Kuala Lumpur. He said since the government's aim of providing more affordable houses for the people had not been achieved, there is a need to set such a condition on housing developers so that there will be more affordable houses to meet the needs of the poor.
Sebab itu ada perubahan baru sekarang yang saya kongsikan 2 bulan lalu untuk tidak meluluskan mana-mana projek perumahan sekiranya mereka tidak membina dalam pada masa yang sama projek rumah mampu milik dan juga projek perumahan rakyat.
The Prime Minister said housing is considered a serious problem in the federal capital, with 3,000 applications for affordable housing or PPR received in a year, while the Kuala Lumpur City Hall was only able to offer 300 units per year. Meanwhile, the Real Estate and Housing Developers Association, REDA Malaysia, said it will continue to support the country's national social agenda in the provision of affordable housing.
On PM Anwar's call for developers to provide for affordable housing, this is already a requirement as part of the approval process for the various states throughout Malaysia. While it has been a very challenging time for the real estate industry, especially post-pandemic, REDA Malaysia and our to support the country's national social agenda in the provision of affordable housing. We are especially heartened that during our recent annual dinner, PM Anwar insisted that state authorities must accelerate the approval process to under 3 months. Doing so not only smoothens the real estate delivery mechanism, but will also hasten the delivery of such affordable housing.
Malaysia must be at the forefront as a green technology transition centre in the region to secure future investments. Economy Minister Rafizi Ramli said the country must first expedite the enactment of related laws as guidelines for investors towards realising the aspiration to progress the decarbonisation industry.
According to Rafizi, during the 2020 to 2021 period, the largest investments in the world were in green technology. Hence, the transition to a green economy is one of the government's main targets towards achieving a high-value economy. He pointed out Terengganu was among the states that has the potential to develop the decarbonization industry by capitalizing on the abandoned oil wells, as these sources are decreasing at present. The decarbonization process could be done by extracting carbon from the atmosphere or injecting carbon imported from other countries into the abandoned oil wells using carbon capture and storage (CCS) technology.
Kalau perancangan sedia ada sekarang, dijangkakan bahawa fasiliti pertama untuk menyah karbon di Kerteh boleh beroperasi 2030. Tapi saya nak percepatkan sebab saya ingat satu perkara yang kita boleh buat di peringkat kami ialah Kementerian Ekonomi dan Kerajaan perlu mempercepatkan menggubal undang-undang untuk mengawal selia aktiviti nyah karbon.
Rafizi said this in a media conference after an engagement session on the midterm review of the 12th Malaysia Plan by the Economy Ministry, together with the Terengganu government at Wisma Darul Iman on Tuesday.
The Education Ministry, MOE, will collaborate with stakeholders towards restoring student interest in science, technology, engineering and mathematics, STEM education, which is currently showing a decline. Its Minister, Fadlina Sidek, said her ministry and the Science, Technology and Innovation Ministry, MOSTI, are looking into the matter to encourage students to pursue STEM subjects.
In her Facebook post on Tuesday, Fadlina said that following a meeting between her and Science, Technology and Innovation Minister Chang Lee Kang, both parties agreed to implement efforts and cooperation with stakeholders. This is to ensure that STEM, which is an important element in preparing students to meet future needs, becomes a field of choice in schools again. On May 16th, Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim, in his speech at the National Level Teachers' Day celebration, touched on the declining interest in the STEM field among students. In this regard, he wanted the Education Minister to establish a special team to find a way to boost school students' interest in STEM, especially among students in rural areas and in the B40 group. Meanwhile, the MOE on Tuesday reiterated its decision not to revive the Ujian Pencapaian Sekolah Rendah UPSR and the Form 3 assessment PT3 anytime soon. Deputy Education Minister Lim Hui Ying told the Dewan Rakyat that this was because the MOE was giving focus on the holistic development of students through the implementation of the school-based assessment (PBS) and classroom-based assessment (PBD) systems.
Jadi pentafsiran berasaskan sekolah atau PBS dengan PBD memberi ruang dan peluang untuk membangunkan potensi murid secara menyeluruh dan dilaksanakan secara berterusan. Jadi pada masa sekarang, kita tidak akan kembalikan UPSR dengan PT3.
Lim also said findings from engagement sessions held on the future direction of the UPSR and PT3, which were fully abolished last year, are being discussed at a two-day convention that ends on Wednesday. According to the MOE, it has improved the psychometric assessment component aimed at preparing students with knowledge, skills and values as a solid foundation for them to follow learning sessions at the next level.
After this breather, New Zealand cracks down on vaping, bans single-use devices. Details when we return. On to the foreign front. New Zealand on Tuesday announced a ban on disposable vapes, tightening the nation's chokehold on smoking, as it also phases in a near-total prohibition on tobacco sales. Its health minister, Ayesha Verrall, said disposable vapes, defined as those without removable or replaceable batteries, will be banned from August. She added that names like cotton candy or strawberry jelly donut will also be barred in favor of generic equivalents of flavor such as berry. This as the government wanted to strike a balance between preventing young people from starting to use vapes and allowing people to use them as an aid to quitting smoking. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, has unveiled the Fatah, the regime's first hypersonic missile, on Tuesday, in an announcement likely to heighten Western concerns about Tehran's missile capabilities. According to local media, the Fatah hypersonic missile has a range of 1,400 kilometers and is able to hit speeds of Mach 13 to 15, along with claims that the missile is able to bypass and destroy air defense systems. The Fatah features a movable secondary nozzle and uses solid propellants, allowing it to reach high speeds and perform various maneuvers inside and outside the Earth's atmosphere. Western military analysts, however, said Iran sometimes tends to exaggerate its missile capabilities. A major Soviet-era dam in the Russian-controlled part of southern Ukraine was breached on Tuesday, unleashing flood waters across the war zone in what both Ukraine and Russia said was an intentional attack by the other's forces. It was reported that the water level around the dam was up by 5 meters, with several downstream islands already entirely flooded. Russian-installed officials in Kherson have claimed that Ukraine struck the dam at 11 p.m. local time for several times, destroying the hydraulic valves of the hydroelectric power station. Moscow stated at least 22,000 people living across 14 settlements were at risk of flooding, adding that around 300 houses had been evacuated to higher ground. A weekend of torrential rains and widespread flooding in Haiti have left at least 42 people dead, 11 missing, and some 19,000 others homeless. The Office of Civil Protection on Monday said the weather has left at least 7,475 families affected and flooded at least 13,633 homes across several regional departments, with the city of Léogâne, just south of Port-au-Prince, most affected. The city also registered at least 11 deaths on Monday and are still searching for those missing. By Monday afternoon, the numbers were updated to show that the damage is even more extensive than initially thought, with at least 85 people injured across 7 of the country's 10 regional departments. The flooding in Haiti comes as the Atlantic hurricane season gets underway, with about 12 to 17 named storms expected to make landfall. Former U.S. Vice President Mike Pence has declared his candidacy for the Republican presidential nomination next year, pitting him against former President Donald Trump, who is the current frontrunner and his former boss. Pence filed a declaration of candidacy with the Federal Election Commission on Monday, and he is expected to launch his campaign on Wednesday in the early nominating state of Iowa. The 63-year-old has spent much of the last 2 years touring early nominating states, such as Iowa and New Hampshire, to reinforce his political vision as a Christian, conservative, and Republican. It was understood that Pence has increasingly distanced himself from Trump after rejecting the former president's demands that he overturn the 2020 election in his role as president of the Senate. Rune battles past Cerundolo en route to quarterfinals. Sports when we return. Sports tennis, the 2023 French Open. Alexander Zverev sailed past Grigor Dimitrov in straight sets as he booked himself into the quarterfinals.
The big serving Zverev beat the Bulgarian 28th seed 6-1, 6-4, 6-3. The 22nd seed was at his dominant best again on a balmy evening as he returned to the quarterfinals for a fifth time in 6 years. Up next for the towering, twice Roland Garros semi-finalist is Argentine Thomas Martin Etcheverry. Also in the last 8 was Holger Rune. The Dane held on in the end to overcome Argentina's Francisco Cerundolo 7-6, 3-6, 6-4, 1-6, 7-6 in just under 4 hours. Rune next faces Norway's Casper Ruud in a rematch of last year's quarterfinal, won by Ruud, who finished runner-up to Rafael Nadal. In the women's category, defending champion Iga Swiatek reached the quarterfinals when her Ukrainian opponent, Lesia Tsurenko, retired unwell. The world #1 Polish was 4-1 up in the opening set when Tsurenko called the physiotherapist and had her blood pressure checked. Swiatek will next face American 6th seed Coco Gauff. In another play, 14th seeded Beatriz Haddad-Maia booked her place in the quarterfinals for the first time after defeating Spain's Sara Sorribes Tormo in a nearly 4-hour marathon. The 27-year-old rallied past her Spanish rival 6-7, 6-3, 7-5 in a match that featured 16 breaks of serve in windy conditions. She became the first Brazilian woman to reach a major quarterfinal since Maria Bueno made the 1968 U.S. Open semifinals. A tough quarterfinal awaits as she plays 7th-seeded Ons Jabeur of Tunisia.
Moving on to football, the Brazilian League. Flamengo climbed to 5th in the standings after beating arch-rivals Vasco da Gama 4-1 in the Derby of the Millions.
Flamengo took the lead after 13 minutes thanks to Eric Pulgar's spectacular effort from outside the area. The home side then doubled the lead 2 minutes later when unmarked Gerson headed home an inviting cross from the right side before Pedro extended Flamengo's lead to 3 in the 41st minute. Both teams were about to go in for a halftime break when Flamengo made it 4-0 as Ayrton Lucas dribbled past Vasco's goalie Leo Jardim before slotting the ball into an empty net. Vasco managed to grab a consolation midway through the second half from the spot, with Jair converting a penalty after he was brought down inside the area. The 4-1 result saw Flamengo climbing to 5th place with 16 points, while Vasco remains at relegation zone as second to last with 6.
Still to come, man nabbed after hitting female driver. Don't go away. We're back with more local news. Police have arrested a man who was filmed hurling abusive words and hitting a female driver's head in a video that has gone viral on social media. It was believed that the incident happened while the victim was on her way to Tapa from Cameron Highlands on Monday. In the 59-second video posted by a social media user, a man clad in a red T-shirt was seen getting out of his car, knocking on the female driver's window and berating her over her driving. It is understood that the man was arrested on Tuesday and was taken to the Tapa Police Headquarters for further action. In Perak, a rubber tapper was charged at the Taiping Sessions Court on Tuesday with negligence, which led to his daughter consuming cookies laced with cannabis last week. The accused, 39-year-old Muhammad Firdaus Hasim, pleaded not guilty to the charge when it was read before Judge Nabishah Ibrahim.
According to the charge sheet, the man had exposed his 11-year-old daughter to danger by allowing the child to consume the cannabis-laced cookies he made, leading to physical and health injuries to the victim. The offence was allegedly committed at a house in Kampung Bagan Lawin in Gerik on May 29th. The charge under the Child Act carries a maximum fine of 50,000 ringgit or 20 years imprisonment or both upon conviction. The judge has denied bail and set the case for mention on July 6th. It was reported last week that the victim was admitted to the hospital after she suffered shortness of breath, dizziness and nausea after eating the chocolate cookies made by her father.
And that concludes Nightline this time around. As we wrap up, let's take a look as Egypt reopens the historical Mosque of Al-Zahir Baybars on Monday after the completion of its renovation work. The mosque was once used as a castle, a soap factory and a bakery since it was built in 1268 by the Mamluk Sultan Al-Zahir Baybars Al-Bundukdari before its reconstruction and restoration operations. With that, I'm Sabrina Zaina. Thank you for watching and stay safe.